freaking casting rumors about your show that are coming out like every day. It's like a new casting rumor every day.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I feel like some of my cast members, are putting it out there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, obviously it hasn't started filming yet, because if it did start, people would take pictures.
Oh, everyone would know.
Exactly.
They'll know that.
Everybody wants to back. I'm going to spread this all over.
It was really on a deep pause, and we are actively there casting and kind of looking at the future of what that'll be.
I love
it. It's a great franchise, and we love it. I just have to reiterate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Celebrity News Addict. Today, we're diving into the latest news surrounding the explosive Real Housewives of New Jersey casting drama. And trust me, the updates are bigger than anyone expected. After Bravo hit pause on the franchise last December, fans have been left guessing. Is the show over? Who's in? Who's out? And is Teresa about to trade RHONJ for her very own spin-off? Over the past few weeks, rumours have been flying left and right, and we might finally have some answers. So in this video, we'll be getting into it all, including Andy Cohen's hints that the return is closer than we think, reports of test filming with only some of last season's cast, rumours of veteran housewives taking pay cuts to remain in the limelight, and fresh drama spilling out on social media and podcasts by the second. Plus, we've got rumours of who the first new housewife to join the franchise might be, as we wave goodbye to some fan favourites. From ice outs to pay cuts, spin-offs to secret test shoots, we've got a lot to unpack. So let's get straight into it. Right, let's start with a quick reminder of where RHONJ left off last summer. So, after season 14 concluded back in August 2024, it was revealed that the franchise had hit a new all-time low when it came to viewers, with some episodes from season 14 receiving as few as 600,000 views compared to the 1.2 million from the previous season. Following these low ratings all season long, in July, before the season had even finished airing, and before we'd witnessed the letdown that was the Rails reunion, Andy Cohen confirmed on Radio Andy that the cast was in need of a shake-up and a rebrand.
Is it not time for a rebrand? It is time.
Yes.
I think it's time to do what happened with New York.
We're going to figure something out. We're all on the same page. How about that?
And he later spoke to Extra, where he said that they were, quote, taking their time to figure it out.
Some people are saying it's a new era for New Jersey, that you're going to completely reshake up the cast. Is there any truth to that?
I wish that I had an answer for you. We actually don't. We're going to figure it out. We'll get back to you.
Then, on August 12th, Teresa fueled rumours about her own fate on the show, after posting to her Instagram story saying, quote, sometimes God closes doors because it's time to move forward. He knows you won't move unless your circumstances force you. Trust the transition, God's got you. And quickly after this, she also shared a post that was clearly in relation to ending her relationship with Melissa and Joe, as this season ended with a more fractured cast than we'd ever seen before. The post said, quote, time decides who you meet in your life. Heart decides who you want in your life. Behaviour decides who will stay in your life. Teresa's last newsworthy Instagram story came as she re-shared a post from a fan who had commended her from her time on The Real Housewives. It said, quote, 24 seasons of seeing Teresa Giudice standing strong, never needing anyone to defend her battles, even if it had to take her knocking things off the table. It was worth every bit of it. She's an iconic housewife, and I know for a fact, no matter what, I'll see Teresa on Bravo some way, somehow. She will be on TV. Iconic seasons thanks to Teresa. The fact that Teresa reshared this post had some fans speculating that she would be leaving Real Housewives of New Jersey, but perhaps returning to Bravo in another capacity. Other housewives and cast members were also weighing in on the future of the franchise in August, after season 14 ended, with Frank Catania stating on an episode of the Lisa Alistui podcast on August 2nd that he expected a mix of old and new cast. When asked about the future of the franchise, Frank said, quote, "I suspect that they are going to be dropping off some people and bringing additional new people in, as well as keeping some people on." He added, quote, "You can't continue the way we're doing it now, because right now it is basically two separate shows. You've got a reality show where half the cast won't film together with the other half of the cast. How are you supposed to have a reality show?" Then, on August 15th, 2024, Melissa and Joe spoke about what's to come for season 15 in an episode of On Display with Melissa Gorga, where Melissa firmly stated that she believes RHONJ as we know it with the current cast is done because things have become, quote, "so dark and so dirty." Let's have a quick reminder.
It's just a shame that we've become this, and
the cast as a whole has become what it's become, so dark, so dirty. And I feel like, you know, certain cast members, they bite their nose to spite their face. I mean, you heard Andy, it's done. This cast, guys, as you know it, is over.
So, for a while, it was all just rumours and speculation. Until December last year, when Andy Cohen confirmed they were on pause and considering what to do about the cast. In an interview with Us Weekly, Andy was asked when there would be an update on the franchise, to which he responded, quote, "You're not going to get it for like a year, so everyone stop asking."
Are we going to get the New Jersey update so we can start asking you for the New Jersey?
You're not going to get it for like a year, so everyone stop asking. And I keep saying, you are going to get nothing, so stop asking.
Well, it appears the wait is finally over, and it's time to get into all the inside sources and contradicting rumours that have been coming out over the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of back and forth and different rumours swirling around this controversial cast, so we're going to work through all the news in chronological order to keep things as clear as possible. So, kicking things off in January, this year was New Year, new rumours when it came to RHONJ. Following the Jen Aydin Jersey Mike scandal on New Year's Day, where she posted a public rant berating a worker at the sandwich chain, Jen faced some serious backlash, which led to immediate speculation that she wouldn't be asked back to the franchise. I've done a whole video diving into the Jersey Mike saga if you'd like a refresher. It'll be linked below. Anyway, after the social media scandal that had everyone from Shannon Bedore to Danielle Cabral chiming in, Jen Aydin was quickly removed from a public appearance on a Wives on the Waves cruise on January 6th, which seemed to add even more weight to the rumours that she wouldn't be returning. Then, a few weeks later, at the end of January, a source told OK Magazine that Jen wouldn't be returning to the franchise for season 15. They said, quote, "Jennifer Aydin is not coming back." Speaking on the Jersey Mike's altercation, they added, quote, "There's no excuse to do that, and with her apologies, she's more or less doubled down on it. I also believe this has affected her husband's business." However, the source also stated that this decision to let Jen go had already been decided long before the Jersey Mike scandal. Some sources have put down her dismissal to the violent feud she was in with Danielle last year, which led to both housewives being suspended from filming. It is also widely known that Jen isn't a favourite among viewers, or Andy Cohen, and after rumours that she was leaking early screeners of episodes to the press before they aired, Jen well and truly put the nail in her own coffin. And fuel was added to the fire when on January 6th, reports surfaced that the producers had been planning to reboot the series. According to a report from OK Magazine, a source close to production stated that the producers had been pursuing a group of all new women after season 14, before second-guessing the decision and ultimately deciding to put both the existing cast and the new potential cast on pause instead, leaving us all in limbo. The source said, quote, "When season 14 wrapped, Bravo decided to pursue taking the show in a new direction. Bravo offered a group of new, younger women positions to be on the show." The source explained, Bravo ended up not being sure what direction they wanted to take the show in, so they put the new women on pause, as well as the old women. The Insider also bolstered Andy's claims that we wouldn't be hearing any news until 2026, as they stated, quote, "There's no plans to film anything for RHONJ until at least December 2025. This means the old cast could come back in some capacity, or it could be an entirely new cast. Truly, no decisions have been made." Following these rumours, on an episode of her Turning the Tables podcast, which aired on January 29th, Teresa reiterated that Andy had announced there will be no news until 2026. However, she also seemed to be pretty confident that she would make a return, stating on various podcasts, quote, "I still want to be on TV and I hope they have me back. They have to have the OG back. They have to, you know? And not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm the fans' favourite." Then, in February, Us Weekly exclusively reported that the entire cast was still in limbo about whether or not they would return for season 15, with no official decisions being made. A source said, quote, "All of them have been in contact with production, but not with any news." Continuing, "There's still an open line of communication, but no news on who is coming back or who is not coming back." The Insider added that while there was no news about the future of the series, production wants the show to come back and is willing to see how they can make it work. Teresa also corroborated this report during her public appearance on March 8th. When asked by Us Weekly how she was feeling about taking a break from filming, Teresa referred to it as, quote, "relaxing," saying it had been drama-free, drama-free, drama-free. Meanwhile, Dolores said that for her, it felt weird to take a break, almost like a breakup. She stated, quote, "You're running on the adrenaline of what you have to do and what's expected of you. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait, it's been a while now since I've done that. And then it's like, you go through a little thing, almost like a breakup." Although Dolores was clear in this interview that she was ready to get going again with filming, at the time, Bravo was adamant that, quote, "no official decisions have been made around casting for RHONJ." Things then went silent for a while, until June 3rd, when Andy Cohen confirmed on an episode of The View that RHONJ was, quote, "really on a deep pause," but that now we are actively there casting and looking at the future of what that will be. He added, quote, "It's a great franchise and we love it. I just have to reiterate that." Let's take a look.
Is New Jersey being recast?
New Jersey, we are doing casting with Jersey as well. We were it was really on a deep pause, and we are actively there casting and kind of looking at the future of what that'll be.
I love
It's a great franchise, and we love it. I just have to reiterate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the real updates started ramping up over the last couple of weeks. Kick-started on August 4th when, on an episode of Watch What Happens Live, Andy was asked about the future of RHONJ and responded, quote, "We're close."
I want my jersey back. I don't think so, honey. Well, you know what? You want to break some news? We're close. Oh!
Following this, the next update came on August 19th, when a report by Bravo and Cocktails suggested that 4 of last season's Housewives would return, while 3 others would be cut. The post said, quote, "Just got word that Teresa Giudice, Melissa Gorga, Dolores Catania, and Margaret Josephs have officially been tapped to film test scenes with a batch of potential new housewives in the next few weeks. Producers are setting up one-on-one or small group shoot sessions. Think pairings like Dolores and Margaret, Dolores and Melissa, Margaret and Melissa, and Teresa and Dolores." The Insider added, quote, "With potentially newbies mostly locked in, it's now all about capturing compelling footage, watching the chemistry, and deciding which pairings or singles stand out. The plan is to unveil the returning vets at BravoCon in November, but it's unclear if the newbies will be revealed alongside them." The report continued, quote, "Production aims to revive the beloved schedule in New Jersey, diving into Halloween, holiday, and seasonal festive scenes, which is perfect timing for giving the show that classic Jersey charm." It concluded, "As previously reported, not all 4 vets could make the final cut. There's a real chance that 1 or 2 vets may be sidelined depending on how the pairings play out. Notably, Jen Fessler and Jackie Goldschneider have yet to be invited to film. though they could easily be slotted in last minute if producers decided to bring one or both back into the mix. Of the two, execs are leaning more towards Jen Fessler at this time. Then, on August 25th, an insider told OK Magazine that, quote, some of the Real Housewives of New Jersey cast have test filmed, adding, there are potential new cast members who filmed with Margaret Josephs, Dolores Catania, and Melissa Gorga in mid-August, corroborating Bravo and Cocktail's claims. The source emphasized that this is standard practice for Bravo, stating, quote, they want to see how the new girls work on camera with some veteran cast members from the show. Another source also told the outlet that Bravo were planning to make Margaret Josephs the main character next season. They said, quote, Bravo has decided to pursue building the show around Margaret as the main character for the time being. Dolores and Melissa are both close with Margaret, so that part is aligned. And Marge isn't scared to be dramatic, but she's also funny and quick-witted. The source continued, quote, additionally, she's always been open with her life and doesn't hide things. She truly embodies everything a real housewife has always meant to be. They added, quote, production will also bring in some new blood to add both fun and drama. It's definitely going to be a funny, fresh, and entertaining season of RHONJ when the dust settles. The insider concluded their interview with OK by saying, quote, those who were fearful RHONJ would not return can definitely rest easy, as it is absolutely coming back. So, while fans got excited about the return of the franchise, Teresa's fans weren't quite so thrilled as rumours started to fly that she was being dumped from the new season. On August 29th, OK Magazine caught up with an inside source who told them, quote, there are lots of rumours trying to be put out that Teresa filmed test footage for RHONJ, but the truth is she didn't. The source continued, quote, her fans can say whatever they want, but Teresa did not film at all. It's really looking probable Bravo is moving on without her, and the show's future does not include her, concluding that her diehard followers are going to be very disappointed with how season 15 turns out. However, Teresa, as always, wasn't one to take these rumours about her erasure from the franchise lying down. In her September 3rd episode of the Turning the Tables podcast, Teresa said, quote, I feel like some of my cast members are putting rumours out there because a lot of them have to do with them, adding, quote, somebody's definitely putting the stuff out there to get their name out there. Teresa insisted that test footage, quote, obviously hadn't been shot yet, saying, it hasn't started filming yet because if it did start, people would take pictures. People have big mouths. People like to put it out there. In this same episode, Teresa also stated that she's taking nothing as fact until she hears directly from Bravo, saying she would get the news via a phone call. She stated, I would think they would give me the respect, like they would call me and say, listen, we want you on or we don't want you back. When asked by her co-host Christian Grey Snow if she thinks there'll be a potential cast announcement at BravoCon in November, which Teresa is set to attend alongside Melissa, Margaret and Dolores, Teresa said, quote, I don't know. I have no idea. Let's take a look.
Freaking casting rumors about your show that are coming out like every day. It's like a new casting rumor every day.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I feel like some of my cast members, are putting it out there. Because a lot of them has to do with them, some of them, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, obviously it hasn't started filming yet because if it did start, people would take pictures.
Oh, everyone would know.
Exactly.
They'll know the day that filming starts. We'll
exactly.
know.
Because people have big mouths. People like to put it out there.
How do housewives get the notification? Is it a phone call? Is it an email like from Bravo? Is it like
a phone call?
A phone call?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I would think they would give me the respect, they would call me and say, listen, we want you on or we don't want you back,
So either way, you would know. I think the cast will be announced by BravoCon or at BravoCon.
Oh, you think?
I think so. I mean,
okay. Are you going to be there?
Yeah.
Want to make it back? Let's make it back.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Really?
I really don't know. And listen, I'm just I guess I'm not, I'm just when it happens, it happens,
Yeah.
Teresa also used this episode as an opportunity to clap back at the other housewives, saying, quote, "Basically, they were all trying to ice me out, so that maybe then Teresa won't come back." Continuing, "So that's why it's been so hard for, I guess, Bravo to make a decision what they want to do." Personally, my feeling is that Bravo and Cocktail's earliest report was correct, and Teresa, Melissa, Dolores, and Margaret have all been invited back to film. Perhaps Teresa wasn't included in the test filming due to ongoing feuds with Melissa and Marge, but there may be other test shoots still to come. To me, this makes the most sense. Otherwise, why invite these four to BravoCon 2025 when New Jersey hasn't filmed or aired a new episode for over a year now? In my opinion, Bravo knows these four are all fan favourites who help generate profits for the production company, so they're going to do all they can to bring them back on screen. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, despite all of the rumours, once again, a Bravo spokesperson was quick to comment that no official casting decisions have been made as of September 4th. Then, just last week, on September 5th, a report from the Daily Mail confirmed that although Teresa has, quote, "not filmed any test footage as of yet, she's still in consideration to be part of the new season." And in an interview with Entertainment Tonight on September 9th about her time on Special Forces with her daughter Gia, which airs on September 25th, Teresa was once again asked how she felt about the rumours that the other housewives were filming without her. Here's what she had to say.
There's a lot floating around about what is going on with the future of Jersey. Lots of reports that they're filming without you. What can you clear up for us?
Obviously, they're not, because if they were filming, then it would actually be out there. So it's just speculation and, people putting out stories out there. You really can't believe anything you read unless Bravo is saying it.
So that's what Teresa thinks for the future of New Jersey. But what about all the other housewives from season 14? Where do they stand and what have they had to say about all of these rumours? Well, let's start with an honourable mention for the pair that definitely won't be returning, Jen Aydin and Rachel Fuda. Both of these housewives clearly haven't been asked back and have been left out of all reporting on next season. But what about Danielle Cabral? Well, in an exclusive interview with Us Weekly on September 7th at the MTV VMA's red carpet, Danielle was asked if she had been invited to test shoot alongside the new cast members. She replied, quote, "I wasn't, but that's okay. I think they're getting it right. The new is really cool, and I think everybody's gonna be happy."
I think we should all be very excited about the test shooting and who they're potentially looking to add. We need new, man. We need fresh. We need new. We need something more than what we were dealing with. So I think everybody's going to be very happy with how Jersey's turning out.
Okay, so you were involved in the test shooting and everything like that as well?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't. But that's okay. But the new is really cool, and I think everybody's going to be happy.
Yeah. So you know some of the ladies that they've been...
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I'm excited about their potential, in the friend group, because they're cool.
Okay.
What if that's the case, if I don't come back, it was a wild two rides, man. Yeah, but if I do, I think you're going to see a different housewife come back.
Would it be interesting to see Housewives without Teresa?
Like, even for me, I came on a show where there was no room for me. It was always the Teresa and the Melissa show. I think she can hold a lot of stuff on her own. She's a big name, a big talent, so let's see her rise and let Jersey grow in a different way.
Personally, I'd love to see Danielle back, and I really enjoyed the energy she brought last season. But how do you all feel about Danielle? Moving on to everything we know about Dolores and Marge. I believe these two are definitely going to return after being rumoured to have taken part in the alleged test filming and being asked to BravoCon, but they have both been very cryptic about their future on the show. Let's start with Dolores. As speculation continued surrounding the future of RHONJ back in July, Dolores appeared on an interview with E! News, where she was asked if she had any updates for next season. She spilled very little, but did state, quote, "I miss everything about filming. I miss the good times and the bad times. It's a relationship I've been doing for over 8 years now, and you miss the people that you saw often. It's like a bad breakup." She also went on to add that she's still remaining neutral in the feud and keeps in touch with all of the other ladies. Jen Fessler, Marge, Melissa, Teresa, and Danielle. She stated, quote, "The Jersey girls are tied. I really hope we come back." Then, in an episode of Two Teas in a Pod with Teddy Mellencamp on August 20th, Teddy asked Dolores about the casting rumours, questioning if they'll bring other people in and keep Dolores, Melissa, and Margaret as the original three. To which Dolores replied, "Cannot confirm, no decisions." Let's have a look.
I would be amiss if I didn't ask you something that I just read on Bravo and Cocktails.
What? What are they putting up now? They get us in trouble all the time.
Well, they're saying Dolores, there's a new rumor that Real Housewives of New Jersey is being cast around you, Melissa, and Marge, no Teresa.
I don't think that's to be true. Cannot confirm that.
Confirm.
No decisions. This is what they say. No decisions have been made yet.
Okay.
However, Dolores did reveal earlier in the month on an episode of the Nikki and Bree show that if she doesn't return to New Jersey, she will still be returning to the Bravoverse as a guest on Bravo's latest franchise, The Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
I'm right now visiting. There's a new franchise called Housewives of Rhode Island.
Okay, I saw the rumors online. Didn't know if I could ask.
I'm visiting.
Okay.
I'm just visiting.
Marge, on the other hand, hasn't been quite as closed-lipped as Dolores. With reports flying that Margaret is to be the focus of next season, she was quick to jump on the hype. In an Instagram post shared to her feed on August 10th, Marge was photographed laughing in front of a photo of the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz, alongside the caption, quote, "Current mood, wink emoji, hashtag the witch is back." This post came just days after Joe Gorga's confirmation that, quote, "We're back," which we'll get into in a second. The timing of this post suggests Marge was quickly jumping on the publicity and hype to reveal that she'd be back next season too. I don't think it's a coincidence in how similar the wording is in these two cryptic statements. Finally, moving on to the one and only Melissa and Joe Gorga. Fans are pretty convinced that this couple will be returning to the show, after Joe let it slip that they were back at Dolores' charity softball event on August 6th. In a video shared by Listen Honey on TikTok, a fan can be heard yelling to Joe, quote, "Everybody wants you back," to which he replied, "We're back," before quickly telling them to keep the news quiet. Let's take a look.
Everybody wants you back. I'm gonna spread this all over. No!
Commenting on the couple's return, Rumours revealed that an inside source had told them that, quote, "The returning cast, particularly the Gorgas, may have accepted a massive pay cut to secure their spots." According to the recent report, quote, "The protracted casting process and money were allegedly the ultimate issues, and the delays were allegedly due to negotiations and casting. This seems to be a common theme in the Bravo universe, where OG talent is either fired or forced to take a significant pay cut." This same source also suggested that Marge may have, quote, "taken a small episodic rate too." And they had even bigger news to share, claiming that Teresa is allegedly getting her own spin-off show. In a text to Rumours, the insider said, quote, "Source, Gorgas, Dolo and Marge, plus mix of some of the 5 girls test filming next week. Teresa spin-off show, but no spin-off details. So, looks like we'll have to wait and see about Teresa's future. Though it has been revealed that one new housewife being considered for season 15 is potential newcomer and mother of 3, Michelle Barone, who is friendly with Teresa and Jackie, having previously featured Teresa on an episode of her podcast, the Michelle Barone Red podcast. Maybe bringing Michelle into the mix is a way of getting more people on Teresa's side to balance the teams for the feuds this year. Or maybe they're just looking for fresh meat to replace Teresa while she moves on to her spin-off. What do you think? Who's really coming back? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Despite the rumours, one thing's for sure. In whatever form it takes, I can't wait to have RHONJ back on our screens, and I'm so pleased to hear they're almost ready. New Jersey was the first franchise I really watched and fell in love with, so I'll be sure to keep you updated with all the latest news on the return and recasting as it develops. With BravoCon right around the corner, I'm sure an update isn't far off. That's it for today's video. As always, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more reality TV news and updates as they happen. Thanks for watching.